Okay, so this is some of your homework. The topic that we're looking at is arithmetic. Okay, so in this question here, we're told a house is valued at 450,000 in 2007. It has depreciated. Now, depreciated means lost value. So it has lost value. It has lost 25% of its value over 5 years, and you're asked to find its value in 2012. So there's a couple of different ways that you can tackle this sort of a question. You can say 450, and if you've got a sharp calculator, you can just say minus 25%. If you do that, you'll get an answer of 337,500. If you don't have a sharp calculator, an alternative would be, well, if it's lost 25% of its value, that means that it's now worth 75% of its value. So 45000 multiplied by 0.75 or 0.75. If you do it that way, you'll get 337,500. Okay, on to the next part of the question. So next part of the question says the contents of the house were valued at 150,000 in 2007, and it depreciated again, and it depreciated by 5%. But what's important here is the every year, by what's called the reducing balance method, and what were its contents worth in 5 years. So you can see the reason I'm saying 5 years, it's over the period from 2007 to 2012, so that means 5 years. So it's lost 5% each year. So a couple of different ways that you can tackle a question like this. Several ways, in fact. You can say 150,000. So you could take 5%. And when you do that, you'll get 142,500. So that was at the end of Y1, we'll say, year 1. So then what you'll do is you'll take that figure, 142,500, and you'll take off another 5%. And you'll end up with 135,375, and that's at the end of year 2. And you'll do that repeatedly 5 more times. So 375 minus another 5%. You'll end up with 128,606.25, and that's year 3. And we'll just keep this going. So on into year 4, so 128,606.25, take another 5%. You're going to get 122,175.9375, and that's year 4. And just notice I'm not going to round yet, because I'm not at the end of the question. So finally then, for the last year, you're going to get 122,175.9375, and you're going to take off 5% again, and you'll get 116,067.14, and that's at the end of year 5. One last thing just to note, it does say correct to the nearest euro, so your actual answer is 116,067. Okay, so on to the next part of the question. what is the total value of the house and the contents in 2007. Okay, so for that we're going to have a quick read back over part A again. It says there, and you can see it underlined, the house is valued at 450,000 in 2007. So I'm going to write that down. And the contents of the house, you can see it there underlined as well, in 2007, 150,000. So the total there is 600,000. Of course, then it asks you what's going on in 2012, and that's where you're going to take your two values. So you're going to take your 337,500. That's the value of the house. And you're going to add that to the value of the contents, which is just here. Sorry, just below that, I can't see it. Which is just here. 116,067. You'll get 453,567. So that's part C1 answered and part C2. On to part D of the question. So part D says, find the percentage decrease in the overall value of the house and its contents over 5 years. So we want its decrease and overall value. The fact that we're asked for a percentage implies some multiplication of 100 is going to be important, and of course then just watch out at the end, one decimal place, but we'll deal with that at the end. So how much has it decreased by? Well, it was worth 600,000. Now it's worth 453,567. So that means that the decrease in value is worth 146,433. So we're going to take, this is the decrease, and we're going to take this value, 146,433. We'll put it over its original value, which was 600,000. We know it's original because it's overall or original. And here's where we bring in our multiplied by 100. So times it by 100 and round it to one decimal place, you'll get 24.4%. Last part of the question says, if the insurance premium in 2007 was €780 for the year, what should it be 5 years later? To be fair, in terms of insurance premiums, there's lots of different things that can affect them, but I think the idea behind this question is, if the value of the house has decreased, the value of the house and contents has decreased by 24.4%, well, we would expect that the value or the cost of insuring the house and contents would also decrease by 24.4%. So for this question here, all we're really looking for is 780. If you've got a sharp calculator, you can say just minus 24.4%. It will do it directly for you. You'll get 589.68. So I'm going to pull that down. If I press a button, it'll all disappear on me, so I'm just going to keep going. This is the last part of the question, even though that's in the middle of the screen. If you don't have a sharp calculator, well, what you're going to have to do is 780 multiplied by 24.4%, or an alternative to that might be 780 multiplied by 0.244, either or. When you do that, you'll get 190.32, depending on which way you do it. Of course, then all you have to do is subtract. So you'd be saying your 780, take off